The Spirit of the Beehive by Victor Erice. Welcome to my video commentary of Victor Erice's 1973 enchanting allegorical film, The Spirit of the Beehive, set in 1940s rural Spain in the immediate aftermath of the Spanish Civil War. A film which remarkably managed to sidestep nationalist censorship despite its dissident undertones, thanks to Erice's art house extended metaphors. The story unfolds in the desolate landscape of the Castilian plain, where Fernando Fernan Gomez, and his wife Teresa Gimpera, together with their two children, 6-year-old Ana Torrent, and 9-year-old Isabel Teleria, live out their equally desolate lives, presumably in exile, all in some way crushed, limited, or trapped by the effects of Franco's dictatorship. While Fernando distracts himself with beekeeping and writing an apiarist treatise, his wife Teresa whiles away the hours writing and sending letters to an unknown character, also in exile, with whom she appears to be in love. The absence of any meaningful communication between the parents extends to the children, who quickly become the focus of the film, following a trip to the local makeshift cinema to see the 1931 James Whale horror film Frankenstein, itself the central metaphor of the repressive and vindictive fascist dictatorship under Franco. The film, somewhat disturbingly at first, given its horror genre and metaphorical references, completely captivates Ana, who quickly becomes the focalizer of the narrative as she goes on a physical and spiritual journey in a quest to make contact with the monster, which her sister has told her is a spirit which comes out at night and can be invoked if you are his friend and you call for him. The film is so visually rich and full of meaning that it is almost impossible to single out a particular scene without feeling a sense of loss for those not chosen. It does, however, seem worth noting that many of the scenes are very similar in their mise-en-scène, cinematography and sound, with slight narrative changes as the plot develops. This has the effect of somewhat blurring time and space and serves to draw attention to the monotony, isolation and despair of the Spanish population during Franco's regime. As you can see, I've chosen the scene where Ana returns to the abandoned farmhouse, where she finds the injured soldier sleeping. The sequence starts at 1 hour 7 minutes and 19 seconds and finishes at 1 hour 10 minutes and 52 seconds. Prior to this sequence, Ana has crept out of the house at night to search for the monster, during which time she appears to have seen or have had some psychic insight into the Republican soldier leaping from the train and running across the field to the abandoned farmhouse, which she has already visited several times in search of the monster. At the beginning of the scene, there is a static, close-up shot of Ana in shallow focus, lying in bed on her left-hand side, with her eyes closed and her dark hair and sallow skin contrasting with the pure, starched white bed linen which envelops her. The camera angle of the close-up is almost at eye level, as are most of the shots in this sequence, giving the shot an intimacy which almost invites the viewer to share in Ana's thoughts. Perhaps she's thinking of the soldier or the monster, or perhaps she's beginning to doubt the rather demonic character of her sister, who has enjoyed playing rather nasty tricks on Ana, not to mention the cat. All of which is in complete contrast to the innocence, purity, and serenity of the Ana we see here, whose almost saint-like qualities are further enhanced by the soft, low-key lighting which reflects off the white bed linen onto her face. The camera remains still as we begin to hear the sound of wind, at this point extra diegetic, and the clear oral motif of the abandoned farmhouse. The frame of Saintly Anna dissolves to an in-point close-up eye-level shot of the escaped Republican soldier in the abandoned farmhouse, lying in exactly the same position as Anna on his left-hand side, with the same soft lighting, although wearing dark clothing which contrasts beautifully with Anna's white nightdress, visible at one point during the dissolve, as the close-up of Anna sleeping is superimposed on the soldier, further underlying their oneness. Like Anna, the soldier looked serene and peaceful and innocent, a victim in need of a Samaritan, which arrives suddenly with an elliptical jump cut to Anna. Anna appears like an angel, framed in the doorway of the farmhouse, in an eye-level, medium, deep focus shot, her school coat echoing the soft mute colours of the farmhouse, as well as the ochre shades of the landscape, which extends behind her through the doorway. The diegetic sound of the wind whistles eerily around the building, reminding us of monsters and horror films, an uneasy juxtaposition with a children's narrative, and yet this enemy of the regime is no monster in the traditional sense. He is merely an other, which to Anna is the spirit she has so desperately tried to invoke. As Anna watches and considers the sleeping soldier from the doorway, the film cuts back to an eye-level close-up of the dark, swarthy sleeping soldier, his colouring so similar to Anna's, reinforcing their spiritual bond, with his face lit by the intense morning light from the doorway, which has been softened by the dark interior of the farmhouse, and the fact that the figure of Anna is blocking the natural light. As the soldier stirs and wakes, the camera cuts to Anna as she moves out of the doorway to the left of the frame to hide behind a wall from the monster's gaze. There is still no sound except that of the wind and of Anna moving to hide herself. This is followed by a quick jump cut to a medium eye-level shot of the soldier, who, aware of another's presence, immediately sits up and cocks his gun in readiness to defend himself. The soldier is centrally framed in the shot, and the lighting is low-key, with the light source clearly coming from the doorway, creating a chiaroscuro effect reminiscent of Dutch Renaissance art, which had a significant influence on Erice's composition of interior scenes. Up until now, the pace of the entire film has been slow, with the duration of shots being long and silent, reflecting the slow, monotonous and oppressive pace of life in this isolated corner of Spain. But with Anna's search complete for her elusive monster, the pace of the film changes with a series of rapid cuts, conveying a sense of excitement for Anna as her loneliness is temporarily assuaged by the arrival of a friend. The camera cuts back to another eye-level medium close-up, in-shallow focus shot of Anna, showing her peering at the soldier through a hole in the wall. And again her face is lit with low-key lighting, mirroring that of the soldier's face, and suggesting an important, silent bond between the two characters. Still, there is no sound except the wind and the weighty sound of silence. The camera now pulls back from Anna peering through the wall to create a long shot, always at eye level, which reveals Anna coming out from behind the wall to meet her monster. With the wind still whistling, she walks with quiet purpose towards the soldier, who, realizing she is not the enemy, drops his gun and turns to his injured leg. The lighting remains low-key and intimate, with the only source from the doorway creating this dramatic chiaroscuro effect which runs throughout the film. The colours are soft, reflecting the warm browns of the countryside and the warmth of their relationship. As Anna approaches the soldier, the camera cuts to a medium shot of Anna as she almost kneels before the soldier, as if she were kneeling before Christ, who is now completely silhouetted in the foreground of the frame, almost monster or other-like, as she opens her school bag. There is then a reverse shot to a centrally framed medium shot of the soldier in shallow focus, as he bows his head in pain. This is followed by one of the most endearing and enduring shots of the film, as Anna, in a medium close-up shot with beautiful low-key lighting, holds out an apple taken from her school bag for the soldier to eat. This is Anna as the Good Samaritan, as a Madonna-like figure, supplicating to the soldier who, like Jesus, is condemned to die at the hands of evil. The wind whistles, but then for the first time Anna speaks, not in a whisper as she's done for the rest of the film, but in a firm, confident voice, saying, "Tiens, take it." It is as if in this moment Anna has found peace and happiness, as well as an inner strength which allows her to speak without fear. In this moment, Anna represents the hopes of a Spanish nation, searching to free itself from the shackles of Francisco Franco's brutal fascist regime, which has silenced a nation. And as she extends her hand to the soldier with the apple, we see his hand come from the left-hand side of the frame to take it from Anna. Their hands are fully extended and nearly touching, so reminiscent of Michelangelo's painting of God and Adam's hands touching in the Sistine Chapel. With this Christian iconography, set in a stable-like building with straw on the ground, there is no doubt that Anna and the soldier are imbued with spiritual qualities, in direct opposition to the forces of evil which trap and limit them in their outside world. As the soldier takes the apple, there is a reverse shot to a medium close-up of him, his face in low-key, chiaroscuro lighting, mirroring Anna's. He gazes at the apple as if to acknowledge her warmth and kindness in a world so lacking in those qualities. And as he bites into the apple, he gazes into her eyes, half smiling, though never speaking. There is no need. They are communing on another level. There is a reverse medium shot of Anna in high-key lighting, with the repeated silhouette of the soldier to the left of the frame, thereby enhancing the effect of high-key lighting on Anna and her air of purity and saintliness. The wind still whistles, but there is just the beginning of a smile on Anna's face, the first time she appears to have been happy in the film. The scene then dissolves to a familiar deep-focus long shot of the abandoned farmhouse in the ploughed field, reminiscent of Salvador Dali's 1937 painting Average Pagan Landscape, which had a significant influence on Erice's outdoor compositions in terms of the importance of horizontals and horizons to establish reality in surreal situations. During the dissolve, you can actually see the ghost-like image of Anna leaving the farmhouse before we see her returning, running excitedly across the hard sun-baked furrows in her soft muted coat, again blending her inner warmth with the warm colours of the earth and stone. The wind still whistles, but not as ominously as before, and even the cawing of the crows seems more friendly than before, as if they were announcing her arrival. Although crows are associated with death, and their calling could be an oblique reference to the cock crowing in the lead-up to Jesus' crucifixion. Anna enters the building to the right, as she has always done. The camera then cuts to the farmhouse interior, with both characters central to the frame in a medium eye-level shot of them sitting on the straw-strewn floor. Anna, in the role of the Good Samaritan, has bought a coat, shoes, and food for the soldier, including a jar of honey, which she may also be bringing for the treatment of the wounded leg. Neither character speaks, and the wind forms the only significant sound beyond the diegetic sound of Anna and the soldier shuffling along the floor, as Anna moves closer to him, to tie the lace of his shoe on his injured leg. There is a natural intimacy to the way in which Anna and the soldier physically relate, as if they are indeed some way related. It is a warmth and intimacy not seen before in any other of the relationships within the film, apart from through her mother's voiceovers as she reads her letters in her head to an unknown lover. Could this soldier actually be her mother's lover? Could Anna be his daughter? As Anna tends to his shoe, the soldier searches through the pockets of Anna's father's coat and pulls out the pocket watch, at which point the camera cuts to a medium close-up of the soldier's face, bathed in the signature chiaroscuro low lighting, as he examines the watch, glancing at Anna before opening the catch, which triggers the music. Immediately the camera cuts back to Anna's head, the soldier's point of view shot, as he watches her try to tie the lace. The music continues to play as Anna slowly turns her head to look at the soldier, understanding the significance of taking this item from her father, albeit unintentionally. The camera then reverses back to the soldier, who, acknowledging Anna's concerns, closes the watch, and looking at her almost begins to smile, just as Anna had done earlier. The camera reverses back to Anna in a sort of silent dialogue as she stares imploringly at him. With the reverse shot back to the soldier comes the silent but reassuring answer as he takes the watch and by sleight of hand makes it disappear, a trick that makes Anna and the soldier smile, the only time they both really smile in the film. This trick is in complete contrast to the tricks played on her by her sister Isabel, or indeed the trick of cinema, which according to her sister is where everything is a lie, a useful point nevertheless made early on in the film to any potential censor. However, it is as though in this scene he is teaching Anna that there are good people in the world who do not corrupt things, unlike Franco, and that not all tricks are evil, like the cinema. As in the shot where Anna gives the soldier an apple, it is a very tender and intimate moment where they are both briefly happy. From this light interlude, the camera cuts to an extreme close-up of Anna tying up the shoelace, underscoring the intimacy and care between the two characters, and perhaps making an allusion to the Mary who washed Jesus' feet before his crucifixion. The camera then dissolves to an extremely long shot of Anna in the middle distance, walking and then running towards the camera, away from the abandoned farmhouse, with a brief glance back to the hiding place of her secret friend. It is as if the final communion has taken place. After a series of intimate close-ups, this overexposed, long shot in soft focus with the sound of the wind whistling eerily across the barren landscape reminds us of the theme of isolation and loneliness which haunt all the characters in this film. The shot then very quickly fades to the indigo blue of night, with the farmhouse silhouetted against the horizon. Suddenly, the absolute silence of the night is punctuated with the sound of gunshots, and the screen is peppered with exploding gunfire. The Republican soldier has been found and killed by his own people, in just the same way as Jesus was betrayed and crucified by his own people. This clip I have chosen is a microcosm of the film itself, the soldier representing a repressed nation, and Anna, one of its people, trying to find an escape and a meaning to life in a frightened, closed society that seems to have forgotten how to communicate or to love. The film seems to have a Dante-esque quality to it, as Anna, like Dante, goes on a journey that starts in a dark wood in search of salvation, which she achieves to a certain degree in this sequence, although she never quite reaches paradise. The film also seems to draw on a Fellinian autorism, given its style of episodic and elliptical editing, together with its dramatic mise-en-scène and cinematography, together with a plethora of allegorical motifs associated with horror, death, and the spiritual world, the central metaphor being the Frankenstein monster itself. And all these metaphors and allegories need to be unlocked in order to fully appreciate Victor Erice's underlining references to Franco's brutal fascist regime, which isolated and silenced a nation for 36 years. Without the key to the codes, The Spirit of the Beehive is nevertheless a beautiful, emotive, surreal film exploring the inner worlds of its characters. But with the code broken, it is simply a masterpiece, worthy of its distinction as one of the finest Spanish films ever made.